Between 1993 and 1996, the generosity of the Earned Income Tax Credit increased sharply. For a single mother with 2 children who earned about $10,000, the credit was more than $2,000 higher in 1996 than it was in 1993. Moreover, and here's the good part, the increase of $2,000 in the credit for families with 2 or more children was more than 3 times as large as the increase for families with just 1 child. So if income matters for child and maternal outcomes, we should see a bigger improvement for children and mothers in 2-child low SES families relative to 1-child low SES families. Gordon Dahl and Lance Lochner used data on children's test scores gathered before and after the jump in EITC benefits. They estimated the benefit increases of $3,000 produced a 1/5 standard deviation increase in the test scores of children most likely to receive EITC benefits. How to test the maternal stress pathway. William Evans and Craig Garthwaite drew on data from the National Health Examination and Nutrition Survey gathered before and after the time of the EITC expansions. Remarkably, they found that low SES mothers with 2 or more children, when compared to mothers with just 1 child, experienced larger reductions in risky biomarkers such as diastolic blood pressure and C-reactive protein, and self-reported better mental health. The statistics behind these studies are quite simple. They require no fancy multi-level latent growth or structural equation modeling, only a few interaction terms to isolate the key policy variability across groups and time. No doubt many of you would disagree, but I suggest that natural experiments and other tools, can you back up one? There we go, thank you. I would suggest that natural experiments and other tools for sharpening causal inference are at least as important in our empirical work as tools for psychometric or multi-level modeling. Perhaps we can agree that hybrid vigor is likely to result from transdisciplinary fertilization of both concepts and models. Let me step back and ask the biggest question. How can we best accelerate discoveries in the field of child development? As with any discipline, the field of child development progresses by both deepening and broadening its conceptual and empirical endeavors. The rewards to depth are impressive, and in no way do I want to minimize their importance. As shown by examples I've presented, however, there's a clear case to be made for breadth, for combining insights from very different disciplines and methods in new and creative ways. I'm most familiar with the promise of interdisciplinary links between developmental psychology and other social sciences. Neuroscience is another obvious field. Sylvia Bunga writes of the synergies in the field of cognitive neuroscience. In her view, although cognitive neuroscience is deemed overly reductionistic by psychologists and overly superficial by cellular and system neuroscientists, its intermediate position lends itself to integrative research that spans several levels of analysis. Indeed, she goes on to argue, cognitive neuroscience is the right level at which to begin to understand how cognitive developmental trajectories are influenced by such important factors as hormonal changes during puberty and socioeconomic and cultural contexts. One of my favorite science writers is Matt Ridley. His 2010 book, The Rational Economist, tackles the daunting task of explaining the exponential process of the world's living standards. For all but the last 2 centuries of the last 2,000 years, the average income of the world's population hovered around $500 per person per year. But around 1800, economic well-being began to grow exponentially and continues to do so today. Why the change? For Ridley, the answer to this monumental question lies more with breadth than depth. As illustrated by Henry Ford's assembly line, depth in the form of division of labor played a significant role in this progress, but more and more specialization surely cannot account for the exponential growth we have enjoyed over the last 2 centuries. Ridley instead points to a very different mechanism. As he puts it, ideas having sex with other ideas. The history of the modern world is a history of ideas meeting, mixing, mating, and mutating. So long as it can hop from country to country and from industry to industry, discovery is a fast breeder chain reaction, innovation is a feedback loop, invention is a self-fulfilling prophecy. as illustrated by Arnold Samaroff's SRCD presidential address in Denver, and I hope my own, mixing, mating, and mutating can also characterize our approaches to understanding the process of child development. Developmental science has much to contribute and to learn. Progress in the science of child development, then, must come from depth and breadth. There's little need to worry about depth. The gravitational forces within our traditional social and behavioral disciplines and proposal review panels are robust and likely to stay that way. How to promote cooperative play among the disciplines so that they combine ideas to yield new and exciting ways of understanding development and behavior. Learning about the key ideas and methods of other disciplines is a costly investment, and the rewards are highly uncertain. It's not for everyone, and that's fine. But how to encourage more of it? One way is interdisciplinary research networks. I've already mentioned my own interdisciplinary journey began with a research network on the urban underclass. NICHD's network on child and family well-being enabled Jeannie Brooks Gunn and me to launch our program of poverty research. The MacArthur Foundation has the longest history of supporting various social and behavioral research networks. Here I was fortunate to serve on 3 of its networks. Jackie Eccles' network on middle childhood provided the opportunity for Tom Weisner, Aletha Houston, and me to integrate disciplines and methods in the New Hope work demonstration intervention. The National Institutes of Health provide grants for program projects, clusters of conventional proposals tied together by a common theme. A stated purpose of NICHD program projects is to encourage multidisciplinary approaches to the investigation of complex problems. NIH-funded population study centers, such as Northwestern Cells to Society Center, promote interdisciplinary research among developmental psychologists, biological anthropologists, and more traditional population-related disciplines. And some large data collection projects, such as Fragile Families and even the experimental moving to opportunity evaluation, engage researchers in cooperative play. Schools and departments can also take steps to promote interdisciplinary. Our graduate students best served by working within one lab throughout their graduate school careers, or by breadth promoting rotation among labs. Shouldn't we encourage them to take elective courses well outside their particular areas of interest? I believe the graduate students benefit most if they understand how psychologists think about development, neuroscientists think about the brain, economists think about policy and methods, and anthropologists think about culture. Given the narrow disciplinary standards for awarding tenure, the years immediately following the attainment of tenure probably provide the most freedom for broadening one's research agenda. Master lectures at professional meetings, seminars in other departments, and professional meetings and journals focused on complementary research areas, books by good science writers, and service on interdisciplinary review panels or research committees all provide opportunities for learning about ideas that might mix, mutate, or mate with areas with your own area of expertise. In the end, though, there's no good substitute for a wholehearted interdisciplinary research collaboration. What about SRCD itself? A key goal in SRCD's strategic plan is to promote interdisciplinary research. I'm happy to report that the organization has taken a number of steps to achieve this goal. For the past 3 years, SRCD has funded proposals for workshops and conferences to promote interdisciplinarity and other goals in our strategic plan. And as I hope you've heard, we're starting a set of theme meetings in the years between our biennial meetings. The first 3 will be in 2012. A competition led to the selection of 3 topics, one focusing on developmental methodology, the second on positive development among minority children, and the third on emerging adulthood. Please consider joining us as you begin to think about proposing your own theme meeting for 2014. I cannot begin to tell you how much I've learned and how much I've enjoyed my interdisciplinary forays into the tribal territories of developmental psychology. These adventures take a lot of hard work and involve more than their share of false starts and other frustrations, but they offer exciting possibilities for genuine breakthroughs in developmental science. In other words, for creation through recombination. Let's get to it. Thank you.